All right, Badake and I are bringing two players today,
Two.
one each, that we feel passionately about selling right now in Dynasty. These might be players that you feel passionately about buying or
Correct.
that you feel are pillars for your team.
Correct.
So we don't want to destroy any of your dreams, but we wanted to bring... These videos are harder to make. It's harder to tell someone, hey, sell this valuable player.
Yeah, it is
But
tough.
we wanted to do it. I'm sorry if I sound weird. I have been a little sick, so little flu action going on, but there's no days off.
No days
So-
off, baby.
I'll give you my player that I feel passionate about selling high, and that is young DJ Moore.
Sheesh.
Okay, a lot of people are not going to like this. A lot of the Dynasty community are huge DJ Moore stans, but let's talk about it. I
100%.
think I have good reasons as to why. And if I convince you, let me know in the comments. If I don't, that's fine. You can stay a DJ Moore stan.
Yep.
I understand. Current community value, according to Keep Trade Cut, other crowdsourcing, he is the wide receiver 13 in Dynasty, which is crazy to me. My ranking, I have him as my wide receiver 21 in Dynasty right now.
Okay.
Let me tell you why you should sell him. Okay, let's look at the last 2 years. In 2020, all right? In 2020, so 2 seasons ago,
Right.
he had 66 receptions, under 1,200 yards, 4 touchdowns. Okay? In that season, he was the 19th most targeted wide receiver, but he finished wide receiver 25. Okay?
Right.
So the 19th most targets, finishes wide receiver 25. Not only that, he was the 3rd most valuable wide receiver on his own team. Okay? Behind Robbie Anderson, behind Curtis Samuel.
Gosh,
3rd
I
most
remember
valuable
that.
wide receiver in fantasy.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, this is not my point, but I'm just building a picture for you. Okay. How about last year? More recently in 2021. All right. 93 receptions on 163 targets, had less yards,
Right.
less efficiency,
Mm-hmm.
4 touchdowns. Still 4 touchdowns. All right. Last year, he was the 6th highest targeted wide receiver, but he finished wide receiver 18. And he didn't miss a single game. Okay, if you want to look at a points per game basis, it is much worse. He was wide receiver 30 on a points per game basis. You're telling me this guy got 9.5 targets a game, and he finished with the 30th most points per game? Okay,
I hear you. I'm listening.
I know someone in some of our comments recently was like, well, he had 1,200 yards last year. That sounds great. But what if we break it down on a per game basis? On per game, I'm going to give you his averages. All right. 5.4 receptions, 68 yards, and 0.2 touchdowns a game. Okay. Does that sound like someone you really want to start with confidence? Doesn't sound like that to me. Okay. I'm going to give you a list of players who had 20 less targets on the year, but they finished higher than DJ Moore.
I'm
Michael
listening.
Pittman.
Oh.
Michael Pittman. Tyler Lockett.
Oh.
Chris Godwin, DK Metcalf, Jalen Waddle, Mike Williams, Hunter Renfrow, Mike Evans. Some of these guys make sense. Good quarterback play.
Yeah.
But why don't you tell me about Michael Pittman's quarterback play last year?
Sure.
All those people who have been hating on Carson Wentz. Why don't you tell me about Tyler Lockett when he's been with Geno Smith most of the year?
Sheesh.
Or half of the year, or the worst version of Russell Wilson we had seen in his career.
Yep.
How about Chris Godwin, who, by the way, didn't play for 5 games this year? So you can tell me about quarterback play, but the reality is DJ Moore was not good last year. The quarterback play did not help, but let's talk about it. DJ Moore didn't help his quarterback. You guys are not going to like what I'm about to say if you like DJ Moore,
I'm
but
listening.
he did not help his quarterback. Last year, he was 1st in drops in the NFL, okay? In 2020, he was 2nd. So this isn't new, okay? Last year, had the 56th best target separation, the same as the year before. So he's not getting good separation on his routes. Okay. Last year, he was 81st in catch rate. That is receptions divided by total targets. So what are you doing with your opportunities? The year before, he was 95th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Last year. So a lot of you guys are going to say, well, some of those targets weren't catchable. Okay. Well, that's shout out to Player Profiler who gives us true catch rate.
Right.
True catch rate is receptions divided by total catchable targets. There are analytics for these things, okay? His true catch rate he was 70th
Oh my goodness.
amongst wide receivers.
Oh my god.
The year before, he was 96th. Okay, so let's think about this.
Mm-hmm.
He's not getting separation at a good rate. He's dropping the ball more than any other wide receiver in the NFL, and he has the 70th best true catch rate.
Oh my goodness.
This should be concerning. Okay, this should be concerning for the
Right.
guy that people consistently claim as the next breakout, as the next wide receiver top 5 wide receiver in Dynasty. Not to mention, I kept putting up my 4 every time I talked about his touchdowns on the year. His touchdown upside is atrocious. We're talking about a guy who only missed 2 games in the last 4 years and has yet to have a season with over 4 touchdowns.
My goodness.
The upside is extremely limited. I know a lot of people are going to hate my take, but I think if you really listen to what I'm saying, I'm bringing good information. I believe I'm bringing good information as to why you are all too high on DJ Moore. You're not going to like me saying this, but he is a wide receiver too. He's a mid wide receiver too. He is not a top 5 dynasty wide receiver. He's not a top 10 dynasty wide receiver. And a lot of people out there are going to be watching this and saying, well, he's in quarterback purgatory. It's going to get better. Is it going to get better? Okay, because last time I checked, Sam Darnold is the starting quarterback. Matt Corral is there. Let's see what he can be. And there's talks about trading for Baker Mayfield.
Sheesh.
A lot of people think Baker Mayfield's going to be the starting quarterback for this team this year. Is that really an upgrade for DJ Moore? Because I see people advocating for the fact that it is. Well, Baker Mayfield, what did he do in Cleveland? His wide receiver 1, okay, his average wide receiver 1 finish
Yeah.
since he's been a full-time starter has been the wide receiver 32,
Oh my goodness.
okay?
Could be worse.
And you're going to Carolina, who has, last year, according to PFF, the second worst offensive line. Can anyone really tell me that this is going to get better in Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
There's not a quarterback there that can make a wide receiver fantasy relevant.
Mm-hmm.
If there's another one coming in that's shown that he hasn't, I don't think it's getting better. And Matt Corral, they drafted him, but they drafted him in the 3rd round. What's the confidence level in him? So for me, I don't think it's just quarterback play. Okay? Yes, if you put DJ Moore in LA with Matthew Stafford, he can be a top 12 wide receiver consistently. But he's not getting good separation. He's not getting in a good average cushion. He's dropping a lot of balls. Even the catchable targets, he has one of the worst target catch rates. And the value right now that you can get for him is just too good for me to keep this guy on my team. Okay, I've seen multiple trades in our Discord. When I look at those trades and I say, "Oh my gosh, someone gave that up for DJ Moore." I'm talking a 23 first and a second.
Yep.
I'm talking a 23 first and a player. I'm gonna throw out some ideas for you. How about straight swaps? I'd rather have Debo. I'd rather have DK, even though he's in quarterback purgatory. I'd rather have Diggs. I'd rather have Pittman. Okay, these are all guys that I think you can do straight swaps for. How about players that I think maybe you can get a 2nd round pick? You're not going to be able to do this with all of these players, but Treylon comes to mind, Drake London, Jamison Williams, Olave, Rashad Bateman, I think is a really good trade target and a 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood Brown in a 2nd. These are trades that I think you need to start exploring, because how long can we say the breakout's coming? How long can we say? And by the way, that the year looked so good. Guys, he had 163 targets. He was the 6th highest targeted wide receiver. And on a points per game basis, wide receiver 30. I don't know how it gets better than 163 targets. So he's someone who is going to keep finishing in the 20s, low teens. And this is someone that I think you can get really good value for. He's overvalued in my opinion. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. That's fine. But Badake, who is your sell high player?
Okay, before I tell you that my sell high player, I'm going to tell you, just give your affirmation, because you're right. I mean,
Thank you.
do not.
I needed that.
We've all been there.
It's not a popular take.
It's not a popular take, but I think this is one thing we've always seen eye to eye is DJ Moore. It's just not it.
It's hard. It's harder to defend when you see it broken down like that.
But it's also
right?
harder to even say DJ Moore's just not it. Like, that's hard to say as well, because like you believe in
Right.
it, but at the same time, it's like,
I think he's a good wide receiver,
exactly,
but
it's
he's
just not happening. It's not happening.
He's not a top 5. He's never going to be top 5. He's never going to be a top 10 dynasty guy in my rankings.
I hear you. My first sell high player is Lenny Fournette, and this is a running back, obviously, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think this one's pretty obvious. The community values him as a running back 24. He is my RB 24 in my dynasty rankings, and I believe, you should be selling Lenny high right now. This is a perfect opportunity, either right now or in the middle of the season when he is truly maybe the RB5, RB8, whatever the case may be, and let's just get straight into the nitty gritty, because in my opinion, the reason why I'm wanting to sell Lenny is purely because of Tom Brady. And, we've been saying this a lot. Zach's been saying this a lot. Tom Brady just signed a 10-year, $375 million deal just to talk about football. I saw this stat. Somebody broke it down. I want to read an article. This is more than Tom Brady has made in his entire career. My guy,
is that true?
I read an article. I could be wrong, and that could be wrong. And
that is mind-blowing.
I was really trying to find the true stat, but when I saw that article, it says Tom Brady in his entire career has earned $293 million. My guy just signed $375 million in 10 years. Obviously, that's going to be a span in 10 years. That's a little bit different, but in my opinion,
that's incredible.
That's crazy. Okay, so obviously that's a big elephant in the room, and the hard part about Lenny is that you probably got him at good value, depending on when you drafted, when you did your dynasty startups. One of our dynasty startups with our community, I got him at the 7-11. Not a bad not bad value for me. And
sure.
There's usually a drop off in the running back tiers after that, at least in true workload. Because after that, you see like the Tony Pollards or Ramondre Stevensons, the Damian Harris, all those guys, which is fine. But
yeah.
In my opinion, that's where the true drop-off really begins. Once again, RB6, 180 attempts, 812 yards, 8 touchdowns on the ground. But in the air, 69 receptions, 84 targets, 455 yards, averaging 19.5 fantasy points per game and 6 targets.
Yeah.
He also missed 3 games this past season. There's nothing wrong or bad to say about Lenny right now. He did get a contract extension. This team is on the verge of trying to win another Super Bowl. Tom Brady, in my opinion, this is his last year. I think what I want to bring up to everyone and remind everyone is how did you feel with any of your Bucs players when Tom Brady retired the first time? You were either panicking, you were either saying, I got to sell these people for anything I can get. Unless it was somebody really young like a Chris Godwin that's on that team that got a contract extension. But if you had Mike, if you had Lenny, if you had Gronk, you was like, damn, I need to sell. I need to get somebody. I need to get anything I can, because who the hell is going to be the quarterback for this team? That's going to happen again, right? No matter who it is on this team, especially Leonard Fournette, he's going to be 28 years old after the season ends. After this, the 2022 season ends, he's already past the turn. One, let me tell you that. Two, I won't be surprised if Lenny says, you know what? If they win the Super Bowl or don't win the Super Bowl, thank you so much. I had a fantastic career. I got a ring. I'm just going to hang up my cleats. Right. I will not be surprised. So why would you put yourself in that position again? And I'm looking at myself saying, damn, I put myself in that position when I drafted him in one of my leagues. Obviously, it's probably for good value, but try to sell him now. Try to make a lateral move. Try to get some draft picks. Because I do believe that once Tom Brady retires, that value, done.
Sure.
Gone. No one is going to want anyone, because Tom Brady is the guy that makes everyone fantasy relevant. And, I'm not actually necessarily worried about Rachaad White, especially not this year, at least not right now, because I think they brought him just as a better reliever, a more talented Ronald Jones, a more talented Giovanni Bernard, because when Lenny missed those last 3 games, they struggled in the run game. They really tried to use anyone they could. Rachaad White knows how to run the ball, and he knows how to catch the ball. So unless Lenny misses time, that's why I'll be worried. And I don't believe Rachaad White is going to get a lot of work, especially as a rookie, especially if they're trying to make a Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
So these are 2 options that I believe you can do. You can either move Lenny for a first, whether that's 2023 or 2024, or trade away for these following players and, maybe some draft picks, whatever the case may be. And maybe some of these picks will be lateral moves, and maybe some picks you have to give up more or less, right? A.J. Dillon, Elijah Mitchell, James Cook, Allen Robinson. I would rather have Allen Robinson. Cortland Sutton and Gabriel Davis. These are guys you can either package in either way. Maybe you have to give up more. Maybe you get more in return, especially with Lenny. And try to target these win-now teams. And this is, once again, I'm selling Leonard Fournette, not because there's anything wrong with him. It's because once Tom says, hey, I'm retiring again,
yeah,
GG's to the value. Honestly, goodbye.
Sure.
It's not going to happen again. So, once again,
10-year,
$375 million deal just to talk about football, Tom Brady said.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm getting rid of everyone. I'm trying. At least I'm trying.
I like it. I really, really like the take. You know, and the good thing about this is it could be mutually beneficial for
exactly
both sides. If the person buying Lenny, I have Lenny as a top 5 running back in redraft rankings because he's going to be so damn good this year.
Exactly.
This year.
Exactly.
So, you know, it could be mutually beneficial. And if a win now team is missing Lenny, would they give a 23 first to make that, you know, what pushes them over the top? I think they would. I think they would. They would do that. So I like to take. It could be mutually beneficial. And last thing I was going to say, so Tom Brady signs this 10-year deal to talk about football. I remember when I decided to move to LA, I was living in Sydney.
Yeah.
I decided to move to LA, and we only made the move 3 months after we decided. But for those 3 months, I did not feel like I belonged in Sydney. Like I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah. And there's something that happens mentally for someone when they know what their next step is, but they're stuck in the previous step.
Right.
He's already planning on what, if you don't think he's already taking lessons, he's already learning, he's already deciding what type of commentator he wants to be, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, that is going to be one of his biggest priorities. Obviously, he's going to be fully focused on winning a Super Bowl, but there's something mentally that switches in people's, it's a natural thing for people to be like, this is my next thing. I need to start thinking about it. That's natural. It happens. So I like it. I think it makes a lot of sense. Again, these videos are not easy to make. It is much easier for us to tell you values, but it's harder for us to tell you players that are valuable that you should trade away. They're not popular videos to make, but we think they're important. So comment down below. Let us know what you think about these takes.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch
now,
it.
You can also subscribe.
Right now.
If you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.